Spider-Man 1 or 2? I'm assuming if we're talking movies, that's kind of hard to decide. I would probably say Spider-Man 2 is the better one. I think most fans would agree with that too, movie-wise. Like the original movies, I mean. Or if you mean like the Marvel games. If you're talking the Marvel games, I need to talk about that anyway. I haven't recorded a video about my thoughts after I finish that game. When it comes to the first and second Marvel Spider-Man game, I would probably say the first one was better. But I don't really know how to like. There were things that the second game did way better. Like it did that. Like I honestly think Spider-Man 2 was kind of a product of what the PS5 could do. I mean, it didn't do a bunch of crazy stuff, but like there was like no loading screens in Spider-Man 2. Yeah, there's a fast travel system in the game, and I know like why would you want to fast travel in the Spider-Man game, but there's so much of the city to explore, and there's even an extra like borough of New York to explore as well, so it's kind of added chunk of the city. So it is like the same city as the first game in Miles Morales, but there's also like an added on like part of New York. I'm not from New York, so I don't really know. I guess it's called a borough. I'm not really too sure. A new island, I suppose. But you can fast travel and stuff, and it's instant. Like it's almost instantaneous. It's kind of crazy how fast you can fast travel. Yeah, the fast traveling was cool, and you can swim now too. Like he doesn't just drown when he touches the water like the old GTA games. He actually like he'll like actually like glide. Like if you like land on the water going fast, he'll actually slide along the water for a second, and then he'll like walk on it and then fall in and shit. That's kind of cool. I like that. So if you didn't want to fast travel, you can just either glide, swing under bridges, or you can swim if you want to, or fast travel. Quite a bit of like just crazy transitioning that would happen in the game. Like I remember specifically, there's a part, and maybe I can edit in like the picture or the video of this, but there's a part that I remember recording when I was playing where you're chasing Black Cat around the city, and she's got like a it's been like a month or so since I played, but she's got like a Doctor Strange scroll, and she that's so weird to say that 5 times. Doctor Strange scroll, Doctor Strange scroll. It's hard to say. She's got like a scroll though, and she's kind of opening to different like she's doing the circle thing and she's going through the portals, and it's taking her to different places, and you're chasing her across New York while she's doing that. And there's a few times where it's almost like that movie Jumper, where she like goes through and you follow her, and now she's suddenly in like the Alps, or like she's like on Mount Everest or something, and you're swinging around on the mountains for a split second. It was kind of cool. Like moments like that were definitely like you could tell they took like extreme advantage of the PS5, but there were also moments that it felt like the game was really lackluster. Like the NPCs were really just boring as hell still. There's a clip that I put on TikTok where like I just randomly fell from the sky and hit the ground, and the NPC just kind of went, "Hi," and then just like walked away. And then I took a manhole cover and I spun it around and I threw it at a police car, and nobody did anything. So like I'm not saying I expect them to like have like NPCs that are like on the level of like Red Dead or anything, but you would think like jumping from PS4 to PS5, they would at least try to like improve the NPCs in the world and give them a little more interaction and stuff. I mean, you could still like walk up to people on the streets and high five them and stuff, and that's kind of cool, I guess, but it's nothing new. It wasn't different than the first one. And I think that was probably my main problem with like there's actually a couple big problems with Spider-Man 2, but like one of my big problems out of the two things, I'll explain both. My first problem was that the game didn't really feel like an improvement over the first one, besides the fact that it took advantage a little more of the lack of less loading screens, cool transitioning stuff. Obviously the graphics were a little bit better because it was made for a PS5. Other than that, though, it felt like the game was the same game. It felt like I literally put in Spider-Man PS4 or Spider-Man Remastered, and just they slapped a new story on it. And that leads me into my second problem with that game, the story. Spider-Man 2's story was really lackluster. Like I wouldn't say lackluster, because it did have a lot of like holy shit moments, but it was very, I don't know, out of all the shock value, it had a lot of the lower end shock value stuff going on. Like there's a lot of villains in the game. There's a good amount of boss fights and everything compared to the first one, which is good. But when it comes to overall like pacing of the I was gonna say movie of the game, Spider-Man 2's pacing was just absolutely horrible. The game starts with like just normal everyday Peter and Miles just trying to like maintain being Spider-Man and Peter Parker or Miles Morales. It was like the balance thing. And then it takes forever to get through all that. That first act of the game takes forever. And then you start getting into like the Craven stuff, and the Craven stuff takes a while to start stirring up. And I guess that would probably be the best part of the game, to be honest. When I didn't think that would be the best part of the game, but the best part of the game was probably doing the Craven second act, I would say, or so. It was like second act and bled into the third act. But then the symbiote shows up, and that gets kind of it only lasts like a little bit of time. And that little bit of time, there was no like build up to Peter getting more and more angry and more angsty, because when he gets the symbiote, he obviously starts acting like a goof or starts like kind of being a dick. So like there really wasn't like a good build up to that. Like he does get to the point where he's mean to everybody, but it only lasts for like a mission, and then he takes the symbiote off and the end, of that. But then like they took really long to get the fourth act going. And I always go in a 4-act structure, but like some people say it's a 3-act structure. It's really just how you look at a game or the pacing of a story. But I thought like it took them forever to get to the Venom stuff. Like it took forever to finally get Venom in the game. And when he did enter the game, the tone was a little different, but it went so fast. Again, it snapped by, like it flew by. Like we were done with the game after we finished off Venom. Like we were done with the game pretty much immediately after that. And like I kind of was trying to play devil's advocate and kind of blame myself a little bit, because I like to do all the side stuff and then do all the main mission stuff. But I tried to like mix it in. I tried to do a little bit of both, because you can get all the collectibles and you can get the platinum after the game's finished and everything. You can go back and just keep playing side stuff after you finish the main story, and that's cool. But like I knew you could do that most likely, because that's what you could do in the first game. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna kind of mix in. I'll do a mission of the main story, and then I'll just do like maybe 3 side stuff, and then I'll move on to this main mission and just keep rinsing and repeating. I did that, and I still felt like the pacing of the game was just awful. Like the story was it was not smooth sailing. It was more or less just like high, low, a little higher, low. But even those little highs were so far low already that it was hard to get back up to the tippy top where the game starts. And the game does start off kind of strong. Like it starts off with you fighting like Sandman, and that's pretty cool. It was a cool boss fight, I suppose. It was fun. There was like a moment in the beginning of the game where Peter and Miles are like swinging through the city together, and it's all stylish. That really doesn't happen like a lot, like they advertised. I feel like they advertised it as if like you're always going to see the other Spider-Man like in like a GTA 5 way, where like you'll be Michael and you'll see Franklin like walking out of a gun store. Like I thought that's how Spider-Man would be sometimes, but there would be moments when you're like doing like the side story, like the side like crime stuff where you fight like crime for a split second, and like maybe Miles will show up and help you. But it didn't like, I don't know. It was kind of far and few between for me. And I platinumed the game. Like I did everything. I played for, it was like 28 or 30 hours. I'll look. But yeah, I played for like 30 hours. It took about 30 hours to finish everything and do everything. I would say like more like 27, because like you got to kind of add in the fact that I might have been sitting in the main menu for like 20 minutes at a time sometimes, waiting to start my stream and stuff. I don't know if that counts as game time on the PlayStation, but I would say between like probably 22 and like 30 hours, I would say, is like the average time it took me to finish the game and platinum it all the way through. And I played it through on hard too, and it was difficult. Like it was pretty difficult on hard, and it was more or less difficult because you take so much damage, and there's a lot of like projectile guys that shoot stuff at you and everything. But I mean, it was good. It was fun. I didn't like not like the game. I know it sounds like I didn't like it, but it was fun. Like I had a good time with it. Even looking back at my gameplay right now, like it was a good time. It looks really good still, and it's like it was really fun just swinging through the city. I still to this day, like I'll jump on Spider-Man, like the PS4 one before the new one came out, the second one came out. I would jump on Spider-Man PS4 just to listen to some music and vibe to swinging around the city because it's so stylish. And Spider-Man 2, it's even more stylish. Like it looks super good. Like every animation, like whenever they let go of the web, they always do like a flip or they do something really cool. And it's definitely like the best looking Spider-Man game ever. Obviously, it's on the PS5. So, I mean, that would make sense, but I still think the first one was better just because it was so unexpected how good it was. And the second one just kind of was the first game, just with better graphics and like better load times and just, some added features here and there, like the wingsuit. There's a wingsuit now, so you don't have to just swing across the city. You can like glide through the city with like, he has, it's like from the Homecoming movie, or from like the Marvel, the MCU Spider-Man movies where he has like a wingsuit. You get that in this game. It's kind of a gimmick, but it's really cool. Like you can dive off a building, wingsuit, and there's like tunnels, like wind tunnels all around the city, and they could take you everywhere. And that's pretty cool. That was really, really fun, actually. I had a lot of really stylish moments doing that. The combat, though, is like more or less the same. It's pretty much the Arkham style still, where it's like you'll see something buzz above somebody's head and you'll hit dodge or you'll hit like web or whatever. It's the same. I didn't think they really needed to improve on the combat though. I didn't think it was like I didn't think it was bad. In the first place, it's a beat 'em up game. That's what it's meant for. It's fucking Spider-Man. It's not going to it's not going to have like an intricate like For Honor style battle system or anything. Speaking of, whatever happened to For Honor? Is that game still like relevant at all? But yeah, I mean, I like Spider-Man 2. I thought it was good. I didn't play through Miles Morales. I didn't get a chance to. I mean, I had a chance. I just didn't. It came out too soon after the first game, and it was pretty much more or less the first game, just with Miles Morales and like a different little story going on. I just didn't feel like playing through it at the time. I'll probably play through it again on the channel though, or like on Twitch or something. Yeah, it's a cool game. I mean, the side stuff was really good in Spider-Man 2. Like, yeah, that's the one thing I will say. I thought like the side stuff, because like every side mission, it reminded me of Arkham Knight and like Arkham Asylum, or not Arkham Asylum, but Arkham City and Arkham Arkham City and Arkham Knight had cool side missions where like every side mission was like had something to do with like Batman's villains or whatever, and that was really fun. It wasn't like the main focus, it was the side stuff, but it was still cool. In Spider-Man 2, like you'll take on like Mysterio as like a side mission. It's more or less like a kind of like a challenge like room almost, but like once you finish them all, a story starts evolving with Mysterio and everything. There's one, I don't want to spoil it, but there's one with a really, really cool bad guy for Spider-Man that just kind of shows up and leaves it on a cliffhanger. That was pretty cool. I mean, it's fucking January. I'm sure people have played the game or seen it already, but I'm not going to spoil it. But yeah, they got some good side stuff in there. Like the side stuff was like the highlight of the game in my opinion. I had a really good time going through the side content. There's like spider bots, which are like little collectibles that you find just randomly scattered throughout the city. They're easy as fuck to find, and all the collectibles they're all really easy. They're all on the map and stuff. But you'll collect these spider bots, and they all have like different looks to them, and like depending on who picks them up, like Miles or Peter, they'll like say something about each one, and that's kind of cool. I thought that was really, really awesome, to be honest. Like there's like there's like a Into the Spider-Verse spider bot where they're like, whoa, this must be from like a different universe or something. It was kind of cool. But there's like not 60, there's like fucking 20 of those or something, so there's always something different for them to say about them. And like, yeah, you can switch between like Miles and Peter. That was pretty cool. It's not as like it's pretty seamless, I would say, because like you hit the touchpad and then you just hold square and it kind of just fills up a bar and you switch to them, and you don't just switch to them swinging around the city in their own spot like you would in GTA 5. It's more like Spider-Man, like Peter Parker will be like, all right, I'm out of here, and he'll zip away, and then Miles will just take his place instead. It's pretty simple shit, but I don't know. There were things like that, for instance. That's a good example of something they could have like done something really big with. Like they could have made it where like, oh, you want to switch to Miles? Well, he's actually in the middle of fighting people right now, so you'll have to fight people. But go ahead, enjoy. Little things like that would have made the game more interactive, I feel like. But it was more or less just Marvel Spider-Man 1, just with. I would probably say it was a better story. I mean, there was a lot more shock value shit going on in this one, but the first game did have a really good story with like the ending with like Aunt May and everything like that, and Doc Ock. That was with Sinister Six. That was really cool. Oh my God. And the cliffhanger in the first game with the Venom hand, where it was like, it's hinting that Harry is like Venom or whatever. That was fucking awesome. I thought that was really cool. This game's like ending was kind of shite. I was going to say shite. I was going to say shat, but excuse me. I thought it was like really, really lackluster. The ending was like the cliffhanger they tried to do. It was more or less the same thing as the first game, just without the Venom cliffhanger. It was more of like a Green Goblin cliffhanger, and it wasn't really like it wasn't surprising whatsoever, like really at all. It didn't surprise me at all. I was kind of bored of it by the time we got to that point. Oh my God, the game makes you play as Mary Jane like a few times, and it's not the worst or anything, but they made her so fucking strong, dude. Like she's got like a taser, and she pretty much takes things out faster than Spider-Man himself does, to be honest. Speaking of, there are some cool like boss fights in the game. Like there's a couple like pretty big ones that I didn't expect. I don't want to spoil anything, but like if you guys like know like a lot of the symbiotes, like Scream, like she's like really cool. She's in this. So like there's like different like symbiotes and stuff that happen that are really cool. They don't last long, but again, everything's kind of lackluster in a way, but like it's cool to see in a video game. It's cool to see like them take approaches that they wouldn't normally take in like previous iterations of the Spider-Man games. The costumes are cool. I like the costumes. There's quite a few costumes. I mean, there's some of them are kind of shit, but like a lot of them, like I shifted between probably because you get like a whole like catalog for Miles and you get a whole catalog for Peter, and like there's quite a few. Like there's probably like 30 suits per, which is pretty cool. There's quite a few, but a lot of them are lackluster as fuck. Like they don't really matter all that much, and I'm sure that's how it's gonna be for a lot of people. You're not gonna not all 60 of those you're not gonna love, but each one, not each one, but majority of them, you can purchase them with your in-game currency, and then you literally, and it's not like bad in-game currency. It's really easy to collect shit in this game. You buy them, and then some of them have like 4 different variants. So like you'll buy like a regular Spider-Man suit, and then you might also have like a black and blue one, and a red and blue one, and a red and like whatever, you know what I mean? So there are some pretty like, there's a lot of like customization, like quite a bit of customization when it comes to like the way your character looks and everything. It's pretty much the first game, just with more when it comes to the costumes. There's a skill tree for Peter and Miles, and then there's one where it's combined between the two because they do obviously play pretty similarly. But they each have like 4 of their own skills, and once Peter gets the symbiote, he gets like a completely new skill tree as well, which is kind of cool. It was pretty cool. Having the symbiote was cool though. Like when you would get to use the powers of the symbiote, you were strong as fuck, dude, and it looked clean as hell too. But I thought the game was more or less like fun. It was just like a big expansion to the first game, I thought, but with too much to call it an expansion. It had a lot, like the story was big enough in the game. I mean, 30 hours is not that, like it's not, that's not a short amount of time. 30 hours is quite a bit of time for a Spider-Man game. So the fact that it took me about 30 hours, it took me like maybe like 18 hours, I think, for the first game to platinum it back on PS4. But the second game, like I said, took me about 30 hours. I'm going to be gracious and just say 30. I'm just going to round up because it was, like I said, it was more or less 30. But I thought that was a good amount of time, like for a Spider-Man game. And like, I mean, I can't call it an expansion because 30 hours is 30 hours. But like a lot of the game felt copy paste, which I'm going to be devil's advocate really hard about that game, about Spider-Man 2, because like they could have done nothing, they like, and more or less they did like, I don't want to say nothing, but like they more or less didn't do a whole lot to like improve it, but they did enough to where it's like, okay, I can see why this is a $70 game. I get it. Miles Morales, I know that was a little bit cheaper. When I first played that, I didn't think at the time it deserved to be like a $50 game, but I mean, I don't know. A lot of people do the dollar an hour thing, and I don't really agree with that, but I'm not like upset about how much games are or anything. I would personally say that I would say Spider-Man 2 deserves to be 70. I don't think it deserves to be in the Game of the Year catalog though. I think the people on Twitter that are like talking about it being like getting upset that it was snubbed for Game of the Year, I don't even think it deserved to be on the Game of the Year or on the as a nominee, to be honest, because like it wasn't like, I don't know. I thought the first game deserved to be Game of the Year before this one did. Though this one is good. Like I said, this one's good. It's fun. I would definitely play through it if you like the first game. It's worth playing through. It ends in a way where it's like, okay, there's going to be another one. Clearly, it's a big property. It's gonna be pretty big. So I liked it. If I had to score it, I would. I thought the first game was like an 8 out of 10. So I'd probably give this one like a 6.5. I thought the story was a massive like backwards. Like they went backwards with the story completely, in my opinion. It was really boring compared to the first game. I mean, and the first game was boring in its own way, but like it was shock value good. This one had just shock value because it knew like people needed to see something big happen, but like the story wasn't paced out well enough or written well enough for me to care. A lot of the cutscenes lasted way too long. Like the Mary Jane parts lasted a little too long sometimes. There's maybe like 1 or 2 side missions where I was like, oh, this sucks. But like other than that, like the side missions were pretty chill. There's a couple side missions where you play as like a little spider drone and stuff. They're okay. They're a nice little change of pace, I guess. But I wish they would have done a little bit better with like the crowds and stuff and like the NPCs and everything like that. But for the most part, I liked it. I mean, it was worth it. It took me like maybe like I said, 30 hours. It took me like 3 weeks altogether to finish it when I was doing my playthrough of it or whatever. So, or my let's play. So I don't know. I'd say 6.5, 6.5 out of 10. I don't think it was a bad game at all. It was a safe game. It was very safe. Well, that's the end of the video. If you guys enjoyed that, I would appreciate like a like and a sub if you could possibly do that. It helps with the algorithm a little bit. But other than that, let me know what you guys thought of Spider-Man 2. I know I didn't really give it like the greatest score in the world. 6.5 isn't like the worst, but it's definitely not better than the first one in my opinion when it comes to the score. So What'd you guys think? Let me know. If you guys want to catch me playing these games live, I'm on Twitch TV /bronze_sausage. It's all in my bio and everything on YouTube. So make sure you just check me out. Also, my TikTok is the same name, Instagram, all that stuff. I post a bunch of gaming stuff on there. So appreciate you guys watching.